I don't like being outdoors, which I know is called agoraphobia, right?
Incorrectly, but yes. Anything else?
Dirt, especially around moldings. I don't like it when people put shoes on my carpet. Obviously, I have a lot of tics. I find it very frustrating, to say the least. Certain things distract me, make me feel sick to my stomach.
So have these distractions affected your work of late? Your personal relationships?
What personal relationships?
When was the last time you were in one? You know, a relationship.
With a woman? A long time ago.
5 years? 10 years?
Keep going, man.
What was her name?
Heather.
Were you married?
Uh-huh.
Kids?
Maybe.
You haven't seen her since?
Look, she left me with a black guy, which I gave her, and a bun in the oven, which might have come from anyone. So no, I haven't. Look, Doc, I spent last Tuesday watching fibers on my carpet. And the whole time I was watching my carpet, I was worrying that I might vomit. And the whole time I was thinking, I'm a grown man. I should know what goes on in my head. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized that I should just blow my brains out and end it all. But then I thought, if I thought more about blowing my brains out, I started worrying about what that was going to do to my goddamn carpet. Okay, so that was a good day, Doc, and I just want you to give me some pills and let me get along with my life.
A modern day remake of Matthew Vaughn's Layer Kick, a Coen brothers end up with Timothy Chalamet. A Citizen Kane prequel, a Midnight Cowboy sequel, Alvin and the Chipmunks deserve another squeakquel. There's so many new ways to revisit sideways, but a graphic novel is how we choose to update. But we still hold fast, you can't change the past on the Ruined Childhoods podcast.
On our last episode covering a film beginning with the letter M, we talked about the 1931 classic M, the story of how the residents of a city turn against one another because of a murderous man whose weakness is children. During this episode, we discussed how the movie's director Fritz Lang was a favorite among the Third Reich, and he allegedly escaped Germany while being courted by them to become their resident propaganda director. But it wasn't only M that caught their attention. Nazi Party HBIC Adolf Hitler was also a fan of Lang's 1927 masterpiece, Metropolis. This film is notable in that it is widely regarded as a major influence on the entire science fiction film genre. In fact, a recent listicle published by Collider.com chronicles 10 films that were directly influenced by Metropolis. They note that Luc Besson's The Fifth Element is an evolution of the ideas presented by Lang and his team in the complex city of Metropolis. The gothic steampunk aesthetic of Gotham City and Tim Burton's Batman and Batman Returns were influenced heavily by the world created by Lang in 1927. And in Ridley Scott's Blade Runner, the complex social structures in the film resemble those established by Lang. Blade Runner was Ridley Scott's third feature film following 1977's The Duelists and 1979's Alien. And shockingly, this very podcast has only covered one Ridley Scott film, his fourth feature, 1985's Legend. But on this episode, we are increasing that number to 2 as we cover Ridley Scott's 14th feature film. Greetings, Starfighters. This is Ruined Childhoods. I'm John, joined as always by my brother Dan. And on this episode, we discuss Matchstick Men, the story of a con man whose weakness is a child. Dan, when you're feeling anxious, would you rather have a Prefexol or a Pirin tablet?
A Pirin tablet.
You know what? A Pirin tablet will, calm all those nerves when you're on stage, especially.
They're less addictive, and
sure.
Yeah, I think they're easier to obtain. Well, yeah, I guess it all depends on who you know.
Also,
right.
For anybody who's so confused by the past 30 seconds in the movie Matchstick Men, Prefexol is a drug that is given to Nicolas Cage's character. I don't want to get too spoilery about it.
Right.
But in the movie The Birdcage, which we covered on our last season, a Pirin tablet is just an aspirin with the ass rubbed off.
Thank you. And I wish we had the clip of Hank Azaria explaining it.
So good.
Spectacular. I'm just looking through, why do I have, and correct me if I'm wrong, because on the last on a previous episode, I clearly did not remember that we had covered a certain movie in the past, which indeed we had. Why am
Right.
I having memories of doing Thelma and Louise?
I don't think we did Thelma and Louise.
Okay.
We can do a quick Google.
I'm looking through our archives, and I have this strange, and maybe it might have just been that you and I talked about Thelma and Louise.
No, we've not done Thelma and Louise.
No, we haven't done Thelma and Louise.
No.
Okay. All right. Okay. So yeah, it was
Great
funny
movie.
because I was looking through the Ridley Scott filmography, which, we talked about Steven Soderbergh, and we didn't necessarily go into like how prolific Steven Soderbergh is, especially for a director who once retired.
Right. And then in this calendar year is releasing 3 movies.
Well, he had Black Bag, Presence,
And I want to say there's one other one. Steven Soderbergh. We're looking at your filmography. And we're going to
trust me,
2025. And
we're getting right back
the
to Ridley Scott.
Christophers.
Oh, okay. I think I saw something, but who's in that?
The Christophers, starring Ian McKellen, Michaela Cole, Jessica Gunning, and James Corden. Written by Ed Solomon. Of Bill and Ted fame.
Yeah. I thought
this does say that Presence was 2024. Oh, Sundance was 2024, but January 2025 for
it was
release.
I remember it was early, and it was like a.
But that's 3.
Release, but.
That's 3 releases in one calendar year. This man did not retire.
No. He retired. It was funny because I think he retired like right as like the advent, right as digital filmmaking was becoming really accessible, and then he was like, you know what? I'm not retired. I'm going to make a bunch of movies with really like kind of low cost equipment.
The only gaps in his filmography are 2014 and 2016. Otherwise, he's released at least one movie every single year.
Like since 1989?
Since 1989, basically.
Holy shit.
I mean, yeah, I'm not seeing any gaps aside from those 2 years. 1994, there were no releases. 1992, no releases.
Though I bet you he had something at 94. Like I bet you the Underneath was at like Sundance in 94 or something like that.
I'm sure.
I wouldn't be shocked.
I mean, this just says April 95 was the release for The Underneath. But this is not our Steven Soderbergh episode. That was last episode.
But and to that point, I am looking at the Ridley Scott filmography.
Yeah.
Which he's got a head start. He starts in 1977 with the Duelists. Have you seen the Duelists?
I haven't seen the Duelists.
And David Carradine. I haven't seen it either, and I need to. I think I need to prioritize that just because. I mean, I'm not a Ridley Scott completist. That would be a challenge, but I've seen more. I want to say I've seen more than like maybe 2/3 of his films.
Well, I mean, for somebody who is an iconic filmmaker, I feel like I'm surprised when I do see his filmography because I expect it to actually be longer. But it's just that he's knocked out so many bangers. And not so many all perfect.
And like I feel like he's the kind of filmmaker who like he and Soderbergh seem to have that common thing where it's like that is what they need to do, and their bodies, their minds, they need to be making films. And just to look at Ridley, so Ridley Scott starts off with The Duelists in 77, and then which I think did all right, and then Alien in 79. So.
I know, what a way to introduce yourself.
Feature. And we're not going to go through the whole thing because then it's, a couple of years and then Blade, and he's doing ads and music videos the whole time. He does the iconic 1984 Mac ad, which I'm sure we talked about on the Legend episode.
Probably.
Because also then because Legend is the next film that comes out, but then he's got movies like Someone to Watch Over Me.
Yeah.
Never seen it. Heard of it.
Neither have I. Tom Berenger.
Right. Yeah. He does that. He's got Black Rain, which is kind of a cool like cop thriller with Michael Douglas.
Right.
But he's still like every couple of years he pops out something that is more than just successful. It's iconic because Thelma and Louise. Is like
Thelma and Louise. Yeah. We got Thelma and Louise, 1492, Conquest of Paradise, White Squall, G.I. Jane, Gladiator, Hannibal, which has come up on this podcast, but we haven't officially covered it.
Yes.
Black Hawk Down, Matchstick Men, Kingdom of Heaven, A Good Year, American Gangster, Body of Lies, Robin Hood, Prometheus, The Counselor, Exodus, Gods and Kings, The Martian, Alien Covenant, All the Money in the World, The Last Duel, House of Gucci, Napoleon, Gladiator 2, and coming out next year, The Dog Stars.
And it's kind of like every now and again he makes something that gets like, you know, like an awards movie. It gets, you know, Oscar nominations, and there are certain movies. I feel like Ridley Scott is more associated with the bigger things, you know, stuff more like The Martian,
Right.
Alien, Prometheus, even like Kingdom of Heaven. Black Hawk Down, for being a war movie, is fairly intimate. I haven't seen it since I saw it in the theater. Have you seen Black Hawk Down?
I don't think I actually have. Now that I'm looking at it, I feel like that was just coming out at a time where there were a lot of war movies. And
Well, it also came out like right after 9/11.
sure.
And it might have been like, I mean, I remember I saw it. I was doing a theater tour. So on weekends, that's generally what we did, was like, you know, if there was a movie theater, go to the movies. And I remember seeing Black Hawk Down, and it being, I remember this thing with like Ewan McGregor's character. I think it was Ewan McGregor's character, like making coffee and like figuring out a way to make coffee as they're like stranded and they're waiting for, you know, support in the middle of a war zone.
Right.
So, and, you know, also,
Wait.
yeah.
Is that the one? Wait, is Jeremy Davies in that one, or am I thinking of a different one that's similar?
Let me see. He might. I know Josh Hartnett, Ewan McGregor, Tom Sutton, Eric Bana.
I haven't seen this one.
Ewan Bremner. I remember it had like a pretty, it had a familiar cast. Like not a lot of like above the title name. Oh yeah, Jason Isaacs in there. Anyway, really, that's a great movie that I know like people still talk about, and especially in terms of war films, talk about the accuracy of it and the, you know, how well it captures, you know, better than the average war film. If we look at that run there, Gladiator is like May 2000. Hannibal,
right,
and of course, so we're talking about the Scott Soderbergh parallels here. Gladiator wins Best Picture, but Ridley Scott loses Best Director to Steven Soderbergh for Traffic, who lost Best Picture. Right. Well, for Traffic and Aaron Brockovich, he was friggin' both were nominated, but Steven Soderbergh lost Best Picture to Ridley Scott's Gladiator. Hannibal comes out in like February 2001, and then Black Hawk Down comes out that fall. And those are like, those are big movies. It's not like it's not like he threw something like a Matchstick Men or a Someone to Watch Over Me in the middle there.
Yeah. And to bring things, you know, further along to Matchstick Men, written by Ted and Nicholas Griffin. Ted Griffin, who wrote Ocean's 11. So there is a Soderbergh, Ridley Scott connection in the early 2000s here. Late 90s, early 2000s.
There are definitely parallels. I don't know that I've ever heard it spoken before, and if we didn't do these episodes in such close proximity, that's out of sight's 2 episodes back, but you know, still, you know, fairly recent. And so to think about these parallels and if we didn't do these episodes so closely together, I don't think it. I don't know. I might need to write an essay or something. Cancel my meetings. All right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and just to like, so you think of the big ones, and I still haven't seen The Last Duel, which I heard was great.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen that one either.
I know you said you liked Napoleon, right? Did you say
I did like Napoleon?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that Joaquin Phoenix, at least him being in a movie, makes it at least good.
He's an interesting dude.
And then I feel like the visual effects that were done in Napoleon were very effective. I felt like I got actually a much better understanding of like actual history from watching the movie, and I was very entertained the entire 3 hours plus or whatever that it was. There's a really gnarly shot where a horse gets hit by a cannonball.
Oh, I
so
heard
that
about
was
that.
nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was a movie that really went for it, and I really appreciated the I don't know, the approach that Ridley Scott took for such a grand movie and a really, I think, difficult character to nail. I think that they did their best version of it.
I mean, when we're talking about Napoleon movies, Napoleon is a passion project of perhaps, my favorite director, at least in my top 3, Stanley Kubrick, always wanted to get a Napoleon project off the ground. He always had this, this script might be like, a descendant of the script that Kubrick had. But also like not, age is just a number, but God damn it, Ridley Scott is he's like 88 years old.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So no spring chicken, but the man is popping them out, and like more often than not, he's always making something of quality, but more often than not, he's making great movies. He's also a director, and then we'll move into Matchstick Men.
Yeah.
A director, one of the few directors who has truly taken advantage of the like director's cut. The different cuts of Blade Runner are so interesting, and it's kind of like if you take the theatrical cut, the first director's cut, and then the final cut.
Right.
It's really interesting to watch those 3 versions of Blade Runner.
Well, also, Blade Runner is his 3rd movie, and at that point, he doesn't have the clout to be able to say that he has final cut on a project. He has to do what the studio wants him to do. But as time moves on and he becomes this super well-established director, there's a desire for people to see, what the director actually had envisioned, and we're better off for it.
Right. And I saw the final cut when they released it in the theater, and I saw
Nice.
it on a big screen with awesome sound and
awesome movie.
One of the best experiences. But even later in his career, as late as 2005, Kingdom of Heaven, I haven't seen either cut of it, but by all accounts, the director's cut of Kingdom of Heaven is a much better movie than the theatrical cut.
I haven't seen it.
No, right. But it makes me interested. I feel like now that the time, Orlando Bloom fatigue was in full swing in 2005, not so much 20 years later. I mean, he's working. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Right. So anyway, Kingdom of Heaven might be a good one to check out. But a great one to check out that might have flown further under the radar is Matchstick Men.
Yeah, Matchstick Men, I will say not for me. That's one where I remember seeing it like in the theater.
Oh, not for me either. Definitely remember seeing it in the theater.
And
being
honestly,
excited to see it.
Honestly, I don't even know what the appeal would have been for me, because at the time I wasn't like crazy about Nicolas Cage. Sam Rockwell wasn't a household name, and Alison Lohman, at least to me, was an unknown. But for some reason, I remember seeing it, and when the DVD came out, I had the super flimsy cardboard DVD case that it came in, and watched it all the time. And it's one that I would always come back to. I feel like the story is really fun. The acting is exceptional, and I developed a huge crush on Alison Lohman, which has since greatly dissipated, considering the two of us have opposite political views. We'll just say that.
Oh yeah, I didn't look into things, but yeah, that sounds familiar to me. I remember seeing this in the theater, and contrarily, at the time, this is coming out like a year after adaptation, which I loved.
So good.
And like, it was one of those where it was like, yes, Nicolas Cage, thank you. Thank you. And then this looked like another movie where he was acting.
Right.
And Sam Rockwell, not a household name, perhaps, but amongst me, and I remember I went with my friend Joe, who was also an actor that we toured together, and we really were fans of Sam Rockwell. Had Confessions of a Dangerous Mind Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, I think, had come out a year earlier.
That was 2002, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And before that, there was the Sam Rockwell's roles in Charlie's Angels.
Yeah, I mean, he was active, he was around, but he hadn't like hit.
Right. And even after he hit, it took some time for him for on a larger scale for people to recognize his real capabilities. And I'm looking back to about this time. Yeah, it would have been Confessions of a Dangerous Mind. Safe Men was another movie I had seen him in. The Green Mile, Galaxy Quest.
Galaxy Quest was a big one for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I feel like so by that time I knew who he was, and it was really like Charlie's Angels and Confessions of a Dangerous Mind. And I was excited to see, I was excited he was going to be in the Hitchhiker's Guide movie. I was excited that he was going to be, I was really excited. I didn't get to see Moon in the theater, but that was a Netflix DVD that I would remember being really excited to watch. He was one of the villains in Iron Man 2.
Right.
Which not the best, not my favorite of the series, but
Hammer was his name. Hammer?
Justin Hammer.
Hammer,
a character who it would be kind of cool, if they wanted to bring him back. And I've kind of fallen off the Marvel train, but but at that time in 2010, it was really exciting. Oh man, Sam Rockwell gets to play a Marvel villain back before it was.
Before a Marvel villain was really a big thing.
Right. Yeah. We're talking at the very beginning. But also he's got stuff like Seven Psychopaths, and that's a Martin McDonagh connection. And previously, I remember on a previous episode, I mentioned on the Nick of Time episode, seeing Christopher Walken in the play A Behanding in Spokane, co-starring Sam Rockwell.
Was Christopher Walken in Seven Psychopaths?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That all would have been around the same time, because Seven Psychopaths came out in 2012.
Right.
But I love it. He's always doing a lot of he pops up in the Poltergeist remake, but then he's also he's in The Way Back. He's great in that. There's other things on his filmography that either I've never heard of or never saw.
And this most recent season of The White Lotus blew everybody away.
As that, again, word on the street, haven't seen it, but
Dan, it's one to watch. It's so good.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and an Oscar winner for Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. And definitely deserve that. So right, we got Nick Cage, we got Sam Rockwell. I'm sure that you didn't have any prior knowledge of Alison Lohman.
I think she was in White Oleander, a year before
Oleander.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And she was, after this, she was great in Drag Me to Hell.
Oh, yeah.
She was in that movie Flicka, which is for, a younger audience, but a horse movie.
My Friend Flicka, a reboot there. Yeah.
Right, but...
she was in Big Fish. Big Fish.
She was in Big Fish. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Those are kind of the movies that Was
she in Blue Crush? I want to say she was in something like that. Anyway.
Blue Crush was, I can't remember her name. She was in the Bryan Singer Superman movie. Kate Bosworth. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Alison Lohman. Yeah, she was in the Robert Zemeckis Beowulf, and I would say
Beowulf. Mm-hmm.
I would say Big Fish, Matchstick Men, and Drag Me to Hell are kind of the big
things. We Lost in the Fire. That's a good one.
I didn't see that.
But anyway, she's so good in Matchstick Men. The three of them together are kind of perfect. And I don't know, Dan, I feel like now is the perfect time to just launch into a synopsis so we can like really get into this.
Oh yeah, it's time. Roy has been conning suckers for as long as he can remember, and his protege Frank is quickly becoming as sly as his mentor. But after a new shrink convinces Roy to reach out to his long-lost daughter, he and Frank have one new obstacle, a precocious 14-year-old girl, Angela, Roy's daughter. Angela is a shock to Roy's system. She's messy while he's compulsively clean. She likes pizza and ice cream, and he only eats canned tuna. She's innocent. He's guilty. But when he starts to lose his chance at having a relationship with her, he brings her into their latest con, which unfortunately doesn't go according to plan. Or does it? We have Nicolas Cage as Roy Waller, Sam Rockwell, Frank Mercer, Alison Lohman as Angela, Bruce Altman, really great character actor who easily recognizable, always kind of well, anyway, we'll get back to him. And Bruce
Hard to picture
McGill,
him without glasses.
right? Hard to picture him without glasses and kind of leering.
Yeah, and like really nicely coiffed hair.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Bruce McGill.
Bruce McGill's great.
Bruce McGill, who, my God, how long is that guy's filmography? Do you know, I remember a story. We have a cousin by marriage, and she's an author, so it probably wouldn't hurt to shout her out. So you can check out her books. Kathleen Kent.
Yeah. The Heretic's Daughter.
Author of The Heretic's Daughter, Wolves of Andover, detective series, Russian spy thrillers. She's really, she's done a lot. I remember her telling a story, and she grew up in Texas, and she went to college with Bruce McGill, and she was part of the theater department. I remember her father was, performer. And she, I don't know if she like minored in theater or something. And I guess she was doing costumes for a show that Bruce McGill was in.
Cool.
And I don't remember all the details of the story, but what stands out is that she and like somebody else on the costumes team decided as kind of like a rib to like embroider his initials like onto a pair of like, I don't know, like underwear or trunks or something. Or something that said like BM, and they put it on the because I guess he had an ego or something. I don't know.
Oh, did he now?
Like I said, I am dragging this story out
to hell
after years from it. It's the sequel. But Bruce McGill. I mean, damn, like, people would know his face. If you showed a picture of him, you'd be like, that guy. But if you mentioned his most famous role, you wouldn't make the connection. Probably D-Day in Animal House. Still.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure I've said on every other episode where we've talked about him.
Yeah. No, that tracks. I buy that one.
It's like most iconic, but you wouldn't. If you said Bruce McGill and you showed a picture from like Last Boy Scout.
Right. Yeah.
You'd be like, oh, that guy.
While we're on the subject of authors, you mentioned that Kathleen Kent, the author. So Matchstick Men is adapted from a novel written by Eric Garcia. And
I did not read it.
Well, and that's fine. Neither did I. But as I was reading a little bit about Eric Garcia, who has done like other adaptations and has done some screenwriting as well, an interesting fact that I saw on Wikipedia, it says that he has children named Bailey and Teddy and dogs. And I was like, Bailey and Teddy are dog names, but it's saying that those are his children. So do his dogs have like, I don't know, names that are more standard for humans, or do they have like ultra dog names like Fido and like Bow Wow or something like that? Bow Wow.
Yeah, no. The like, the older dog's name is Eric Jr. The female dog, Erica.
Yeah, right. So, okay. Matchstick Men.
Yeah, Matchstick
It's going
Men.
to be a little hard to talk about this without getting
Yeah.
too spoilery.
You're going to have to sound the spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
So I love how this movie, like, really beautifully, like, this is one where it helps to watch it more than one time because you see the long con in motion the entire time. Whereas the first time you watch it, you're just watching this movie about this guy reconnecting with his daughter and how that just shakes up everything for him. And Nicolas Cage's character, Roy, has a lot, like, major anxiety disorders and is, perhaps experiencing symptoms of OCD and has major issues with cleanliness. There's no, like, actual formal diagnoses. And the fact that when he is given placebos, that seems to correct everything. It just makes you wonder, like, what is going on.
Well, and if I can kind of interject here, it feels that this movie really, because I think the way that our society approaches neurodivergence has, by and large, and again, like, I live in Seattle, it's a bit of a bubble here. But I feel like in general, our society has made a lot of progress in the last 20 to 25 years in approaching neurodivergence, being specific in it, and that mainstream portrayals have largely stepped away from kind of just the, twitches and tics. However, in thinking of this movie in terms of, like, if we think about, like, mainstream cinema portrayals of neurodivergence, and Nicolas Cage is, I don't think, identifies as neurodivergent per se, but still he's an actor, and I think he's doing this very respectfully and
I think so too,
empathetically. But if you look at so this movie comes out 15 years after Rain Man, which again at that time is putting a neurodivergent character front and center. But as we see now that there are spectrums and variations and a lot of nuance, that's kind of one of the flaws of Rain Man. And I'm sure we talked about it way back when we did Rain Man.
Yeah.
So,
which we did cover. I know that for sure.
This I know.
We did a Tom Cruise stretch in which we did Legend as well.
We cruised into summer. I totally remember. Yeah. It was awesome. So I think this movie actually does, it's not the portrayal that you would get. I think if you were making this movie today, it would be more specific. It would be a little tougher because, like you mentioned, the placebos do seem to.
Right. So to that point, I feel like there's no official diagnosis of what's going on with Roy, and the fact that as his atmosphere and other behaviors change, he doesn't have the tics that he has, and he doesn't have the same level of neurosis that he had towards the beginning of the movie. It kind of explains away that, like, there's something else going on with him. And this is somebody who's been a criminal his whole life.
Yeah.
Somebody who's been doing these cons, and perhaps it is, the impact of kind of cheating people out of their money that's kind of having some sort of psychological effect on him. And not to say that he doesn't have some other kind of, neurodivergence that we just aren't exploring here, but it is interesting how this psychiatrist, who, as we find out, and the spoiler alert still stands, is a total fraud, and not even a fraud, but like he's an actor.
And as I was alluding to, Bruce Altman just should have been the first. You don't trust that guy. He looks like a psychiatrist. He is either like sleeping with your wife, or he's a fake like, I can't even think of a specific movie where he's like like where a character's wife is cheating on them with Bruce Altman's character,
Right.
but I'm sure there's at least one. He's just he's kind of like we need a guy who just plays like he's not threatening, he's not this, but he's kind of slimy.
Oh, totally. Absolutely. Yeah. It's interesting because even though he is not a real psychiatrist, he's still, by giving the placebo, proves that that there's something else going on. So it's like, even though he's part of a long con, I don't know. It's like maybe he was a psychiatrist, or,
That I got was that he was a that he was a psychiatrist who
Sam Rockwell's character paid off.
I was going to say got disbarred, but discredited.
Sure. Yeah.
Or, I mean, who knows? Because it's like, then your brain, but the answering service, well, but that's a setup, and that's part of the, right. It, I guess, and coming back to the, I guess, neurodivergence aspect, and there's no specific, so I'm not going to make a, diagnosis. So I'm just going to say neurodivergence. I feel like that's as specific as I can get.
Yeah.
I think I always assumed that it was something that I think I filled in a lot of blanks for myself. Like, okay, this guy grew up, either poor or unsupported, and that he had these problems, that that he was not in a position, he was not in a family or an environment where he was going to be taken to experts and checked out, and that it was and that he realized no, he can't get a job. He's not going to be able to do anything. So he goes, he learns cons. Yeah. And is like, this I can do. But, to your point that it does seem to come and go in a way that isn't exactly clinically expected or reasonable. It makes you wonder. He's doing it when nobody is watching other than the audience. So,
right.
And
it's
doesn't
not
make
performative.
Sense. Right. So yeah, it kind of, and it's kind of hard to not talk about the other facets of the story and the characters that could be explored. It's kind of hard to save that here because, like you said, is something, we know that he had this relationship in the past that didn't end well. So what were the relationship, and correct me if I'm wrong, but he didn't know, his ex never told him that she lost the baby? Or,
well, I think that they just, cut off contact before he could find out any of that.
Because he talks to her at the, because he talks to her at the end, and I guess,
what's that actress's name? She's in Magnolia.
Oh, is it Melora Hardin or Walters?
No. Melora Hardin. No. Okay. We have to figure this out right now.
Matchstick Men. Heather is
Melora Walters. Yes.
No, Melora Walters. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And I like to think that it's, her same character from Magnolia as well, by the way.
Oh, that one.
She kind of acts exactly the same.
It would make sense.
On cocaine.
It would make sense because also Magnolia is in 1999, so it's a few years before this, and it does kind of sound like she has her act a bit. We hear her on the phone once.
Yeah, and we see her at the end. That's it.
Oh, right. Yes. Right. And it's interesting because there's that time when he calls and leaves, or he doesn't leave a message.
No, I don't think so.
No, he doesn't leave a message. I'm imagining that was a fake phone, or that wasn't a real phone number, because
I don't know. But so for anybody who hasn't seen Matchstick Men and is not worried about things getting spoiled,
yeah,
what is happening throughout the entire movie is that, as we believe it, Roy has a chance to reconnect with a 14-year-old daughter that he has never had any contact with. which is all based off of him telling this, as we now know, fake psychiatrist about how he had, he was married and his ex-wife was pregnant and then lost contact, everything else. So to his knowledge, he has no idea if there's, a person, but the idea is kind of planted into his head that, maybe he does have a child that he can connect with. And and Bruce Altman, the psychiatrist, has kind of facilitated a meetup. Yeah.
Is that what we're not seeing is that Bruce Altman is reporting all this back to Sam Rockwell.
Right, because Sam Rockwell essentially put Bruce Altman's character into place, saying that like his cousin, used him and was great and everything. But Roy, Nicolas Cage's character, ran out of these pills that he was taking to, feel better. So he was just trying to find somebody to give him pills because his last guy like moved. And
which makes me wonder about the pills that he was taking previously.
Sure. Right. Well, we don't know if Frank had anything to do with any of that. Like, who knows how long this con has been going on?
Well, exactly. Yeah. And because that doctor just goes, and I think as the audience, we're kind of maybe led to assume that that was legit. But when, again, after you've seen it and you look at it through that lens, it is really like, man, how long has this guy, like, it's, I think upon first viewing, when you get to the end, you're like, oh, Sam Rockwell must have gotten the idea when he found out that the shrink left. But that's just a fill in.
Things clearly
filling in the blank.
Things clearly were in place. And what I also love is that there's a moment towards the beginning where Roy is telling Frank, Sam Rockwell's character, who wants to do a long con, and he's like, no long cons. We keep it simple. And everything, and we don't even realize when we're watching it that there is a long con in progress.
And again, this comes back to the like, it is a great movie to watch for the first time.
I know,
but it is a movie, and I'm like, I didn't watch it for a long time, and I'm starting to feel a little all over the place here. But to wrap up the point. To wrap the loop up on the neurodivergence, and it sounds like it's almost it would. I wonder if it's the type of thing where maybe he did experience that trauma of that loss 14 years ago, and I don't know. It's vague, but again, I don't. We've already brought up the inconsistencies about his behavior, so
right. Well, but there's so much that we don't know, and we just have to kind of go along in the ride. And if we want to assume certain things to, fill certain blanks, then that's fine too.
Well, yeah, but again, the ending of the film should put all of those assumptions into question and say it is just as believable that this has been going on long before we joined the story.
And what I appreciate about the ending of this movie is that it doesn't flash back to Frank working out all of the details and doing all the things.
Nope.
Like, we don't need that. I feel like that would be more of a Steven Soderbergh kind of a move.
Dude, you read my mind.
Where there's like, fast like jazz bass playing.
We're cutting back and forth as Nicolas Cage is standing in the middle of the room like, oh, making a astounded face, and then we're cutting back to Sam Rockwell, putting an ad on like it's 2003, so I know fucking Craigslist for I don't know, maybe not, but no, you're so right, and it's so great that we don't get that, and we are left, and there is resolution, and from what I read,
yes.
From what I read, the book just ends with like he's left with nothing and he's been conned.
Mm-hmm.
And I think from what I read, the studio didn't want that because they didn't want the audience, like, I guess, getting conned.
Right.
So it was, as I read, Ridley Scott's idea to add the 1 year later tag.
Which I think is nice. It gives us resolution with Alison Lohman's character and where she is at in her life and how, and she gives a little bit of explanation to her involvement, but like not too much. And we also get to just see how being out of the con game is impacting Roy. And it's just like, okay, he's actually doing all right.
Well, and makes a lot of progress in 1 year.
Makes a lot of progress in 1 year. Although I have to go back to the reveal scene, the reveal moment, which was completely ripped off by Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. The whole getting him to, give the, the code or whatever to his safe deposit box or whatever it was while he's in like a hospital bed medicated kind of a thing.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Which Mission Impossible Rogue Nation did, trying to get the plans out of the, terrorist or whatever.
Well,
and then
feel
Wolf
like
Blitzer comes in.
Oh right, yeah. I feel
Wolf Blitzer, talk about prolific actors.
Oh, Wolf Blitzer's filmography has got to be right up there with Bruce McGill's.
We should do an entire season just of Wolf Blitzer movies.
I wonder if we could. Okay. The thing is, we might have already covered some, so
we might have. Yeah,
I mean,
he's
we definitely
very prolific.
We almost definitely have. But coming back to this, no, I feel like the whole like set up hospital room or set up interrogation room with the fake cops, like I'm sure it was done before Matchstick Men. And
maybe, but this is the first time I remember seeing it.
I can't think off the top of my head of another one, other than Rogue Nation, which definitely comes after this.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Oh, yeah. But it's not something where I see it and I'm like, oh, they're ripping this off. It's like, oh, they're doing that thing.
Right. Yeah. I'm looking at Wolf Blitzer's filmography.
Oh, man.
He was in an episode of Murphy Brown?
Of course he was.
Interesting.
Well,
The Adjustment Bureau, The Campaign, Skyfall, Money Monster, the George Clooney one, Mission Impossible Fallout, Shazam, Fury of the Gods, and then a bunch of other TV stuff. But if those are his only films, we haven't covered any of those.
I find it hard to believe those are his only films.
I find it hard to believe too. I remember so much more, but
all right.
I mean, House of Cards and whatever.
We'll get to the bottom of this at some point.
Yeah. So Matchstick Men. Let's talk about Alison Lohman for a second. She's absolutely enchanting as Angela. Very precocious. Supposed to be 14 years old, as we find out later. She's in her 20s, but exactly the right personality to kind of shake Roy's foundation and to get him to have to pivot and question everything and freak out. And then and this is all for this long con to get all of Roy's money, but with an additional con that Frank has set in place. That's, a staged con, which is like very dramatically I don't know, depicted throughout the movie, with this whole airport scene leading to a chase in the garage and then holding him up at gunpoint.
The whole thing with Bruce McGill. Yeah.
The whole thing with Bruce McGill. Amazing.
And the first time I saw it, I don't even think I realized that was actually part of...
Sure.
That was staged and part of it.
It would have to be.
Yeah. No. I think the first time I saw it, I was so caught off guard because I just thought I was watching a story about, about this connection and, how does this guy's life change and what choices does he make and all that. I didn't realize I was being conned.
Dan, in the words of Lawrence Lorenz, would that it were so simple.
Would that... Any excuse
I
to bust
really
out that
appreciate the way that this movie plays out. It's so much
Yeah.
fun to watch, even if you know the twist and you've watched it many, many times. It's always enjoyable, and you're always kind of seeing new things.
But I was too bitter. I was so bitter about it.
Were
that
you
I
really?
did not want to. Yeah, I was so
because you were conned.
I was so conned, and I was so bitter about it that even the 1 year later thing. I mean, I remember every time I would think about watching this movie, I'd be like, "Oh, but I got so pissed at the end." That he was being conned, and that Frank would like hit like that, go for that deep of an emotional con.
Yeah, but ultimately, the worst thing that Frank did was wearing that like floppy cowboy hat that's covering his face, and he has to like put his chin up to like see down, and like that snakeskin shirt. That was the worst thing he did.
Oh, hey, that was pretty cool back in the aughts. Back in the
I don't think it
aughts.
really was.
It was a cool look. Doesn't he wear like a Kangol cap backwards at some point with like the stylish bowling shirt?
He might.
That was also popular in the early to mid aughts.
Yeah. Did you
It's an
ever
interesting time
wear a
capsule.
backwards Kangol cap, Dan?
No.
Yeah,
Would
me
I
neither.
or did I? No, I never have. I would.
No, the question was, did you?
No, I have not yet. That's the power of yet.
Ooh, the power of yet. Oh, okay. Interesting.
And they
We're
have
entering
yet
a
to
new
do
phase.
anything with Matchstick Men. Speaking
What's that?
of, and I was trying to, I was segueing as I was saying, and they have yet to do anything with Matchstick Men.
No, they certainly haven't. I mean, Ridley Scott, did Alien Covenant and Gladiator 2, so it's like he's not averse to doing sequels for his movies.
Produced
So-
Blade Runner 2049.
Produced Blade Runner 2049. I'm glad that Denis Villeneuve was the director on that one because it was amazing and he was perfect for it.
Yeah. Which, by the way, conundrum. He can't cast Dave Bautista in the new James Bond movie because Dave Bautista was in Spectre and died.
That's right.
And we know he likes to work with, which I love because I'm a big fan of Dave Bautista from back in the WWE days.
Dave Bautista, I think that the acting roles that I like him in the most, Blade Runner 2049, and also The Last Showgirl. He was really good in The Last Showgirl.
I've heard that from you, among others. I have yet to, I haven't gotten around to that one yet. But
speaking of perfectly coiffed heads of hair, I mean, certainly it's a wig for Dave Bautista, but it's fascinating to see Dave Bautista with a full head of like gorgeous hair.
yeah, I know. We're not used to that, are we?
No, we're not.
No.
But Dan, okay. You're Ridley Scott. You're 87 years old. You are tasked with making a new Matchstick Men. What do you do?
Oh man, what would I do with a new Matchstick Men? It's so hard. I don't have an idea for a sequel, for a follow-up of any type, but I don't know that it's impossible. Now, again, I could also see going back and looking into backstories. I kind of, like you were saying, I kind of like the mystery of it, and that I enjoy speculating more about their pasts than their futures. Right. Oh no, I'm saying that just like I enjoy as an audience member, like not really having the answers given to me, but also looking at Roy in like a younger Roy, a Roy first learning the con game. But also I don't know, like as we've been talking about the vagueness of his behavior, his symptoms, the neurodivergent symptoms he displays, I don't want to ruin what makes this movie so interesting.
Yeah.
And because we have that 1 year later tag, it doesn't feel like it's necessarily ruining it to go, 25 years later.
Yeah.
And see, like, does Roy get pulled? Like, does Frank reconnect with Roy? because it's like I felt bad. I need to make it good to you. You're the only person who can help me on this.
Okay, I got it.
You got it.
All right, so Frank is he's in prison because he got caught in a con, and he is in the newly reopened Alcatraz. And he can only count on one person to help him escape. Well, you know where I'm going with this.
Yes. And anyone else, I mean, geez, even if you haven't listened to the recent episodes, you should know.
It's a dual role of Stanley Goodspeed and Roy, and the two of them are working together.
And we know he can pull it off because adaptation.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Or other option, Frank this whole time has really been CIA operative Chuck Barris, host of the Match Game.
So we're jumping around in time a little bit.
We're going to bring Clooney in to direct.
Hey, that's fine.
Yeah.
I love Confessions of a Dangerous Mind. That's
one of
my faves. I think it's a top 10 movie for me.
Really? That's
so.
one I want to go back and watch again, but I
think I've told the story of the first time I didn't see Confessions of a Dangerous Mind on this podcast. Do you remember this one?
I don't remember it.
I had borrowed this is Netflix DVDs by mail. I'm like, okay, it's the movie where the TV show host is actually a CIA operative, and what I thought was Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, I had mixed up the title with The Kid Stays in the Picture, the Robert Evans documentary. And I put it on, and I'm just like, I don't think this is the same thing, but because they're like entertainment industry related and like the decades kind of match up a little bit, it took me longer than it should have to realize this is not the right movie.
It's different Confessions of a Different Dangerous Mind.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that was the first time I didn't see Confessions of a Dangerous Mind. And, but when I actually did see it, I absolutely loved it.
Also, I feel like that's at least not going to end up being as much of a disappointment when you get The Kid Stays in the Picture instead of Confessions.
If you're not
I'd be more disappointed
if
I got something like, if I got Dangerous Minds.
Oh, yeah. But that would have taken me like 10 seconds to realize, oh, this is the wrong movie.
Right. Oh, well, yeah.
For so many reasons.
Paradise? What?
Yeah. Yeah, Confessions of a Dangerous Mind is awesome. Sam Rockwell's so good in it. Among the many great movies in which Sam Rockwell dances, Matchstick Men included.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, really delightful. But anyway, just to go align with you a little bit, I was also thinking that it would be fun to do a 20, 30 years later, or I guess 25, 30 years later, Frank is in prison. But for me, it'd be more about like, in order to get by in prison, he ends up running a con within prison. What that exactly is, I don't know. But Sam Rockwell, I mean, I could watch him do anything. So here we go.
I mean, yeah, and again, shout out recommendation for Moon for anyone who hasn't seen it. If you just want to see Sam Rockwell in a movie acting opposite Sam Rockwell,
exactly, yeah,
and it's incredibly well done, directed by Duncan Jones.
Duncan Jones,
yes,
son of David Bowie.
Oh wow! All right, I was gonna say that's. Hold on to that thought there.
Hold on to that thought there. So if you all have ideas for how you would want to revisit Matchstick Men, email us ruinedchildhoodspod@gmail.com. Go to ruinedchildhoodspod.com for lots of fun stuff and merch and whatever. And please rate and review the show on all of the platforms. Subscribe, follow if you haven't already. You can watch these episodes on YouTube and Spotify. And it's been really fun to, see what people are saying on YouTube. We get a lot more comments there. We will occasionally get some, messages from people from all around the world. So it's really exciting to hear from everybody and find out where you're all tuning in from. That's a lot of fun too. So Dan, our next movie, as we go down the alphabet this season, we are going up and down the alphabet. What are we doing for our second L movie?
Labyrinth, 1986, directed by Jim Henson, starring father of director Duncan Jones, a guy named David Bowie, and Jennifer Connelly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So and a bunch of the creations of the Jim Henson workshop and an adorable baby.
Yeah,
so,
there's a baby there too.
Yeah, a bona fide cult classic here is Labyrinth.
Totally. It's one of my kids' favorite movies, and so I'm hoping to watch it with her, and it's going to be fun to kind of see things through a child's eyes, as well as, for me watching it for the probably fifth time, I would say.
I don't know that I've ever seen it all the way through.
Really?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. Labyrinth is one of those movies that I just, for some reason, has never quite hooked me in the way that, let's say, a Dark Crystal has.
Right.
But I'm excited. I love David Bowie. So, and I love Jim Henson. So, and geez, I had the Career Opportunities poster with Jennifer Connelly hanging over my bed back in the day.
Did you really?
I sure did. Yeah.
Okay. Fascinating.
I mean, it had Frank Wiley on it as well. So.
Was she your Alison Lohman?
Yeah, for a time.
I mean, Jennifer Connelly was also my Alison Lohman for a time. And also, I believe also politically aligns much better than Alison Lohman does. So there's that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So anyway, we'll get to talk more about Jennifer Connelly and David Bowie and Jim Henson and
Jennifer Connelly, who, I mean, when's the last time we talked about Jennifer Connelly? I'm trying to remember what other Jennifer Connelly movies we've covered.
I am having a hard time coming up with any.
Have we covered any Jennifer Connelly movies?
I'm trying to. There's the ones that like A Beautiful Mind and House of Sand and Fog that come to my mind.
No,
but all right,
Little
we
Children
definitely haven't done Requiem
done.
for a Dream. We haven't done Snowpiercer.
Right.
Oh, that's right. She was in Top Gun Maverick. Right. We didn't do Noah.
No, nor shall we.
Or 9. I never saw Noah, but Darren Aronofsky, always interesting. The Day the Earth Stood Still, Blood Diamond. Amazing.
This might be our first time talking about Jennifer Connelly.
I believe it is. Oh, you know what? Jennifer Connelly is in one of my other favorite movies, Dark City.
We'll talk about that on the next episode,
yes,
though.
I can't wait. Oh, no, hold on, John. Hold on, John. We have talked about a Jennifer Connelly movie. 1991's The Rocketeer.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Wow. Okay.
Okay.
Cool,
all right.
Cool.
Good. All right, now we can wrap this up.
Well,
Closure.
Dan, as you're cruising down the street on your skateboard looking for your dad, I wish you a good journey.
Good journey.